Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's January the 9th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And we had a really good trading day today. There weren't a lot of entries here. It looked like we're going to have another trading range, and then we broke on through and we started this little channel here. We had the break right here, move down, and then we reversed and we've been moving up. We've kind of overshot this channel. It could be that this is a median line here, and it may be that it looks more like this, and this is just a median line, but we'll have to see. It could be we're overshooting it and we may turn back down. I don't know. But again, not a lot of trades today, but the ones we had were pretty good entries. So um, runners off a few of them. And, like I said, I like these ranges like this because they're so predictable, really. And I like trading them. They're the easiest for me. But when you catch a good trend like this, they're nice moves, and it's where you get some of your best moves and runners on either one of these if you took them. So they were really good trades. You didn't need but a couple of trades a day to make some really good money. So let's talk about what we did see. This is going to be rather quick today. I've got some other issues I've talked to you, explained about the weather around here. So I've got some, um, you know, issues with my other business that I got to take care of today and maybe for the next few days. So, but we're getting into Friday tomorrow anyway. But let's talk about the trades, and that way I can wrap it up and get out of here for the day. And maybe slow to get into emails for the next day or so, but just bear with me. But anyway, here's what I saw today. We had a really big move up here in the overnight, and then this was a second entry long. I like this one. Notice, let me make it a little bigger here. Notice how this bar ended with a lot of stem. That's suspect. If it would have closed on its high, I would have liked going long there with a stop, but because it didn't, when it broke higher, this is one where you drop a limit order in here, and it would have gotten filled at least a couple of ticks back into it, maybe even three. I can't remember exactly how far this bar backed up after it broke higher, but you can see it came all the way back even on the next two bars, so you really could have gotten filled on this all the way back in here. I usually don't try to play it that conservative. I usually try to get about right where the close is or maybe halfway into the bar. So could have got a good entry on that one. Then it was an easy scalp if you did that, but you didn't get anything more out of that. And then it was obvious that we had some strong resistance across here. Right across there is where I originally had this. I moved it down a little later because we got more closes right there, and that's where that touched off of as well. And then it was looking like a range. I originally had this up here, but as we moved lower, I moved this lower as well. And you can see this little play right here. There's kind of a midway, and we had this little range, and we had about an equal move down. And then this is similar to yesterday. Notice we had the new low, first entry short, second entry short. It reverses, it turns up. So you got to be thinking, hey, we're probably going to the other side, and maybe we'll get even get another leg like this. But it wasn't to be. Easy scalp, didn't get anything more. And guess what? It turns down right off that same level where it's been turning down, actually a little bit lower there. And that's key because notice how we're making lower highs here each time. And there's two legs up right here. There's that leg, then a pullback, and then another leg. And of course, there's some swings within those legs, but this is a nice little double-legged bounce here. And look at that big bearish bar. You could have actually gone short right below. Let me show you right below, actually below the doji here if you wanted. But this is one I would have used a limit order probably, and it would have gotten filled. But if you didn't go short there, you almost had to wait on this bar because that's looking like congestion right there. But again, it's congestion. The reason it's congesting is because it can't get through here and the sellers haven't really kicked in yet. But when you get this big bearish bar, you know what's going on there pretty much. And if you break below that, and you had to be quick to catch that, and then it's off to the races. Any runners are safe either way you entered, and there it goes. You might have thought about entering right here if it would have broken below that bar, but it didn't, and then you got hung up in all this stuff, and you see then it broke down, and it comes back up, and this really is congestion, then it makes a little trap right here and then turns down. But you should have had this By that time, you could have easily drawn this bar off those lows. That's how I got this bar and drug it up. So when we turned down right there, I like that. It did break this trend line based on the way it's drawn there. I really think it's more like that off of that close on that high right there. And but it did turn down, and it was a double top there. It's a little bit of a it's a breakout pullback short. There were multiple reasons I liked going short right there. If you use the limit order on this one, because we didn't quite close on the low, you might have thought about a limit order, but if you did, you missed this one most likely because it took off really quick. And then you should have been looking at that point for at least a move like this one. And you can see that's where we started finding a little support, but you might have even been looking for one like this. And if you put that down there, it's almost a perfect measure to me. We actually went a little further than that. So that's what I would have been using for targets, and that would have gotten you out almost at the low. And you might have even thought about entering here. We did have a break of this here. But we're trending down so strongly and pull back to that trend line. That's the reason I kind of like it off that close right there, because that almost gives it a touch. And depending, you could have drawn this a little steeper here, this line, and it still would have fit. You can see right there is probably a good fit. And then if we copy that and drag it up, it bounces right off of that line there. So I believe that to be the upper line right there, and you see we got the bounce off of it. And they tried to bounce off of it here, and this is why this is risky, because you see what happened here. It bounced off, it turned down, but this is more congestive than this was. We were still making lower highs and lower lows at this point. We made a double top here, and that's still going on here, but notice how all of this is overlapping, and this is not a very strong pullback like this one was. So but that's why this is a little bit more aggressive, a little more risky for this exact reason. This is a great example of what can happen to you. But there's other clues going on here not to get in right here. First of all, it's not a very strong pullback. As you can see, you didn't pull back very far. But notice how this low is getting away from this line. This low is getting even further away. And that's a good clue. And there's not much room between here and this low. There's not enough room to scalp out, where here there is, because there's a good chance it bounces. And see, it tried to bounce right here. So there's important reasons, differences in that than this that you need to be aware of. And, to the untrained eye, this may look like the same entry here, but they're not. They're totally different, and they're two different things. So, but now you got a trend working up, and I like this one simply because you got a new low. There's your first entry, pull back, and you get a second entry here, and it fails, and it bounces right off that line. So that's a trap, easy scalp. And guess what? Your runners would have survived here, and then you get another similar setup. There was actually a trap right here, so you either had to go long here or wait on this little pullback and go long there. And you could have really done that either way. To be honest, I liked going long when it failed. Let me just get that out of the way a minute. Right here, because that's where it became a failure right there. So you could have entered there, or you could have waited until you got this better bar. And when it went above and closed and broke above, you could have gone long there. But really, your entry was here. And if you waited, then you probably didn't. If you didn't enter here, you probably would not want to enter here. It doesn't look as good. But when it drops back again and then bounces off that line again, I like going long there or adding on. So you could have done either one. And that was pretty much it. And I got to get out of here today, so I'm not going to. I haven't seen any other setups since then. This was a nice setup. And guess what? Runners were safe on this entry right here as well. So even though there haven't been as many strong entries today, there were some really good ones. 1, 2, 3, 4 that had good runners on them as well. So anyway, hope you had a good trading day. Sorry that I don't have more time to spend on this today, and maybe could have gotten a few more trades in here later in the day. But I'm generally, anyway, trying to come in around 7 and get my trading, done and over with around noontime. And then getting the chart lesson done and getting out of here. So that's my goal. Don't know that, that could change at some point, but that's my goal at this point, and I'll continue to try to do that going forward. But that's why we don't talk about much after lunchtime. Not that there's not any trades out there, or not that there's not some good trading that time of day. It's just that I'm usually done by then, and I want to get the chart lesson done and get my other work done and get out of here and go enjoy my time, because that's why I wanted to become a trader, for the time and uh, the extra, the lifestyle it affords you. And if I'm sitting around in here all the time, I'm not taking advantage of that. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. Hope you had a good trading day, and we'll be back to do it again tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.